What is happening, everyone? Just going to walk through yesterday recap and then what to look for today. So yesterday I did take 2 trades. So first 2 trades of the week, I took a buy through here, 1 to 3 was hit, and then I took a sell from here, which was a break even. So I'll go through both of those, and I will come up with a YouTube video and post that later on within the next 24 hours. Just breaking down these 2 positions. So you can see why I took them, why I took profit where I did, etc. and so forth. So that'll be a really good one to watch. So that's coming. Now, as for today, so what kind of happened yesterday was what I expected with GU. We wanted price to basically come into supply of some sort. This was the last supply that did mitigate previous supply and take liquidity. So that ticks boxes for me in terms of what I'm looking for. And then that led to a lower low. So I don't trade New York now that it's daylight savings where I live, which means it's an extra hour later, and I'm not going to bed really late. I'm not for it. So for me, don't worry, my keyboard's just broken. So for me, completely just looking in that one session, that London session, and kind of going from there. So coming into today, GU, there's not a lot to be done. So this is a really good inducement, but it aligns with the structure cycle this way. So for me, I don't think this will hold, but you could get something like this. What I'm more or less looking for is price didn't really react out of a supply. It didn't come into that last point. It's in this entire area. For me, that's not enough. I'm looking to just come and take this low, generate some liquidity, take that liquidity, and then look to buy back up into this point, generating that liquidity out of this 4-hour point, which we were targeting yesterday. So if you guys go look at yesterday's video, I said on the 4-hour, we were looking to target this point here, have a bit of a retracement, and then sell down here or buy through there. So they're the 2 options. But I think it's more or less we'll come and take this out in a selling manner and then kind of get a reaction upwards from that. That's more or less more likely to have happened at the moment anyway. So sells still are the higher probability approach, but we have nowhere to sell at the moment. Okay, this point, once we break this low, isn't a very strong point. Yes, it took liquidity. It's just not a very good take of liquidity. So for me, buyers are all I see on GU for today, and it just comes off of that liquidity here. So I'll need something in here that tells me that this is valid, and then I'll be looking to take, basically, just like yesterday, taking a trade, taking the Asia highs. That's kind of the approach for GU today. Now, EU is actually a little bit different. So EU has tapped into the extreme point. Okay, it's tapped into it just on the 4-hour. Like, I mean, it's pipped it, like it's so close. We are more likely going to come lower in this point, but at the moment, what we've done is we've pushed off a major inducement, which we had to the left, broken structure, come and taken 15-minute structure, so a medium inducement by my rules, and then fallen off. We did come into this area of small demand to supply. It's very small, so I will actually mark that out. I don't think it'll hold. Personally, I don't think it should hold, but it can, given we're so bearish. It is a valid supply. If I actually zoom in here, did that? Yeah, so it actually took the low first by the looks of it. Oh, no. This stayed in that low. So if we mark that out, that is a valid supply demand to supply. So that's a valid point, taking liquidity and falling off. So taking a buy out of here is against this current structure cycle. What I'd more or less be looking today is this is a valid point given what it's done. Is I'll be looking for a reaction out of here. This won't be a long-term hold. I will more or less be looking for a very slow move to the upside to then sell down into the mitigation and more or less into this point, which lines up with GU as well. So higher probability situation is to sell. So don't get it twisted. If I do catch a buy today or take a buy out of here, it won't be too long-term hold to these highs because it is against the current structure. We are bearish, okay? So for me, I'm just wanting to continue that sell. Now we have taken Asia lows. We may get a bit of a reaction. Frankfurt, which is, we've got 30 minutes to open now, so we could get a reaction to the upside. Maybe come into this point, push lower, or take this point to then come lower. There's multiple options there, but we'll see what Asian low does because there is liquidity that's generated here. People do trade it, so liquidity is gone. If we can build some liquidity here, I'm happy to actually sell like that. That's quite a nice approach there. It's just a little bit tough because we've got such a straight range, such a straight move, and no liquidity generated in between here. All the liquidity is currently sitting at this high here. Okay, so that's more or less the problem. It's why I'm open to buy here. I just don't think it'll come up that high. I think more or less we're going to get that. Come and take those lows. So sells on EU at the moment. I'm okay with retracement buys if I generate liquidity in here. So if price can kind of do that, generate some liquidity, I can then try and take that liquidity. So we can kind of trade both sides. But like I said, if we buy, it's not going to be a long-term buy, looking for continuation sells until we more or less fill more of this point. So out of this point, retracement buys, looking for sells, and then GU, take this low, retracement buys, more or less sells. But GU, interesting spot. We're at the bottom of the range, so only buy. We're in mid-range, we can buy and sell, okay? And that just comes down to standard approach with the market. So I can mark out this here, and then we can mark out this here. We have taken that internal liquidity here, which is a valid supply to demand as well. So you may find we do possibly get something like that. This divergence may drive this, so you may get that. And EU may do something like that. So these are kind of the options I'm working with at the moment. That's what I'm seeing right now. We are 30 minutes from open. If price keeps melting, I will go with the original plan of that to that. And this can just stay at that to that. If it comes too low in here, I'll focus more on EU and then use the divergence between both. So we're in such, as you can see, we're in such a 50-50 spot at the moment. The scenarios we have are endless, just because we're middle range on EU, bottom of range on GU, and then we've got to try and use that to our benefit there. So I'll leave that. That's what I'm kind of seeing at the moment, and we'll see what those arrows do. Now, in terms of USDCAD, I think we're still at the top of the range personally. We have induced that low. Okay, so we took that low there, came into this point and came into demand. So USDCAD, I don't think there'll be anything, but if we can get a pullback, I'm happy to actually buy through this liquidity and come and take this high. And that'll line up with the sells on GU and EU as well, because they work opposite. So I am open to that. Let me open that full screen. So I am open to a bit of a pullback on CAD to then buy through that, but it's looking very unlikely, and then gold is still at the high. So that's kind of all I'm seeing on CAD, but the main ones, GU and EU, that's kind of what I'm looking like. I've got those arrows there for you guys. So we'll see what kind of happens with that. I'll update the Telegram as I go. Like we said, we've got so many options today, so we could be playing around. Stay tuned for the trade breakdowns. Buy and sell in here. They will be up within the next 24 hours. And I'll do them as in-depth as I possibly can, and we'll kind of go from there. So let's have a good day. Let's finish the week off strong. It's Thursday today, so 2 more trading days. Let's stay in the positive, and let's go from there. Any questions, drop them below. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the Telegram.